everyone. If you are watching this, that means you clicked on my very first YouTube video, so welcome and thank you. A little bit about myself and why I decided to start this channel. I am a 27-year-old registered nurse in the operating room. I'm married to my very best friend Cody, and Cody was diagnosed with stage 3 bile duct cancer in 2018, 10 days after we were married. And over the past 2 years, almost 2 years, I've done my best to keep everybody updated with our journey via our Facebook page, Cody's Fight, and my blog page, codysfight.com. But now that we've completed the treatment side of things and we're now in this monitoring phase, I decided that I wanted to share not just how we're doing and the events we're experiencing, but how we got through them and how we managed to survive those events and just the tips and tricks that we learned along the way. So my goal with this channel is to help as many people as I can, even if it's just one person, just get through this crappy game of cancer life that nobody ever asked to play. There's not a lot of information out there regarding being diagnosed with cancer in your 20s, or being newly married and your spouse being diagnosed with cancer, or just anything along those lines, or just cholangiocarcinoma, bile duct cancer in general. There's just not a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of what we learned was through trial and error. And so if I can just shed some light on this subject, or just help anybody in any way that's experiencing similar things, I would absolutely love to do it. So that is why I'm here. And if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, or if you know somebody that could benefit from some information like this, please hit the subscribe button below, share this video with them, and afterwards, if you decided that you enjoyed the video, please feel free to hit the like button if you so desire. So enough of me babbling. I think I'm just gonna jump right into our story and just gonna just need to adjust. Okay, so one of the first questions that people ask me when they find out that Cody is 31 and has cancer, or at the time was 29 and had cancer, was, and I love the way people ask me this because they realize halfway through the question that it's kind of invasive and a little awkward, especially when I'm just standing there looking at them. But this is usually what I get. And if you are diagnosed with cancer, or if your spouse or anyone close to you, if you've experienced this, comment below and let me know how you've handled this, or if you've experienced the same thing. But it's usually something along the lines of having a normal conversation. Somebody asks something to where you end up having to say, oh, he has cancer, my husband has cancer. And a lot of their first questions is, oh, so how did you know? Like, was he sick before? And then they kind of trail off and just wait for your response, and it's like, you know what, let me just go ahead and tell you. So for Cody, he really did not have any symptoms that would make you think his liver was going haywire. So for roughly a year, okay, that sounds bad, but maybe 9 months or so, he'd been complaining of back pain. We like to go hunting, we ride horses, and we were hog hunting 9 months prior to our wedding, and he was on a mule and jumped a log, and he said when he came down, he felt like he tweaked his back. So we just kind of thought that his back pain, which was middle, upper, right back area behind that shoulder blade, we just kind of chalked that up to, oh, you landed wrong, you're getting old, you know, go see a chiropractor, it'll feel better. So and he just kind of nonchalantly would mention the back pain every so often, but not enough to ever be like, oh, we should go get that looked at. That is until probably May of 20, so that was probably summer, that was mid 2017 when mule jump hurt back. But it didn't put him out of work or anything like that. And so jump forward to May of 2018, Cody starts his own construction company and is trying to get that up off the ground. So on top of working his chemical plant job 50 hours a week, working 12-hour swing shifts, he would get off from the chemical plant job and then go to whatever construction site job he was working on, and he'd put in 7-8 hours of manual labor there, come home, take a nap, go do it all again. Busting his tail for this. And so when he started complaining more and more of back pain in the spring of 2018, it made sense. He's doing a ton of manual labor. He's outside in the heat. It bothered him from when mule jump went wrong. We just didn't really think anything of it. And so I tried to get him, we went to the chiropractor, we got massages, I would have him foam roll in the living room. He just wasn't feeling great and he was always tired. So August hit, so our wedding September 1st of 2018, August of 2018, his back is bothering him so much at this point. I mean, he can't hardly stand, he can't hardly sit. He actually ended up having to take some time off of work because he wasn't able to do the labor intensive things that his job was requiring of him. He had to quit doing all things for the construction company that was just getting up off the ground. I mean, and so we actually went and saw an orthopedic surgeon that I work with and did some x-rays. Nothing funky on x-rays. Nothing that would explain why. The ortho doc that I work with put in for a CT or MRI, I can't remember which one. Insurance actually denied it. So now we're like 2 weeks away from our wedding. Insurance denied the further diagnostic imaging because we hadn't tried conservative treatment first. Meaning they wanted him to go to physical therapy to work on an undiagnosed pain. Anyways, so we said, you know what? We'll deal with all this when we get back from the wedding. We've got to go get married, got our honeymoon. Okay. So now we're at our wedding day, 2 weeks after that, and he's just been taking over-the-counter pain meds to try and help it. Nothing's helping. He is progressively more tired. Again, it just didn't seem weird. The back pain, none of it added up until afterwards. And as a nurse, I felt like I had really let him down because I didn't catch it. But again, it didn't make sense till you had that final piece. So that being said, we are at our wedding day, wedding week, wedding day, extremely tired, lots of back pain. We're gonna get married. So at our wedding, I actually got really mad at him because he is not one to, he does not like public attention at all, even though he wanted a giant wedding. He doesn't like dancing in front of people. He doesn't like, you know, he's not one to go sing karaoke. That's just not him. He loves being surrounded by a lot of people and he loves hanging out in big groups, but he's not the one that's gonna go break dance in the middle of the floor, right? So I thought he was just being a turd because he was just really half-assing our first dance. And he did the same thing with his mom. And I was so frustrated. I got mad at him on our wedding day because I was like, please just, I get that you don't enjoy this part, but like, can you just fake it for the pictures and all 400 of our closest friends and family that we invited? Like, please just fake it. And he's like, I can't, my back hurts so bad. I can't do it. I'm sorry. There was something about him holding his arms like this that really was irritating his back. And so I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So we get through the wedding. Everything else went fine. It was beautiful. And we go on our honeymoons. That was Saturday. We go on our honeymoon Monday. During the honeymoon, we hung out in the pool. We went offshore fishing, hung out in the pool some more, ate and slept. All this boy wanted to do for that whole week was sleep. Slept most of the day in the mornings until I would finally get him up around noon or so, and then we'd go hang out in the pool or something. He said the pool, hot tub made his back feel better. Awesome. And he just slept a lot. And I was like, well, he's been tired. I get that, but it didn't make sense for him to be that exhausted. And so and we never did any nightlife things after we ate dinner. We just go home and go lay in bed, or go back to the room and lay in bed. He just was not quite himself, just wasn't feeling great. His appetite was weird. The last night of our honeymoon, he ended up getting sick, which if you've ever stayed in a snazzy hotel or villa, they like to hide and lock up the cleaning supplies. So when your husband gets sick all over the bathroom, all you have to clean it up with is the vodka from the minibar and some washcloths. So thank God we had a private pool outside of our room, because I just jumped in that because the bathroom was just completely destroyed. So that was fun. So we get home from the honeymoon. The trip home was miserable. He did not feel good the whole time. It was just, he was nauseous. And I noticed at the airport in St. Lucia, that his eyes didn't look right. I couldn't tell you at the time what it was, but when I looked into his eyes, I could tell something was wrong. And I remember keep asking him, like, you don't feel good, do you? I asked him that a lot throughout the week that we were in St. Lucia. He was like, no, I just don't feel good. Okay. Very vague, very non-descriptive. Okay. So we get home. It's Sunday. It's like 3 a.m. We finally get back to our house, and we pass out, wake up in the morning, and it's beginning to be fall time. So all the leaves are falling at our house, and that just drives him nuts, having leaves everywhere. So he gets up, puts on the backpack blower, and he goes out to blow leaves. He does that for 30 minutes or so, and I just notice him walking around. He's just moving really slow, like it's weird. And I go out and I look at him. His eyes are yellow at this point. Not extremely jaundice, but I look at his eyes every day and I was like, something's wrong. Like, something's going on with your liver. So let's go get you checked out. Went to an urgent care. They told us they wouldn't touch him. Went to a minor clinic attached to a hospital here in town, and they told us it was going to take 2 days to get a chemistry panel run and the numbers back. So I said, okay. So at this point we've been to 2 doctors. Now he's grumpy. We just go home. Okay. They also tried to tell us he could have hepatitis B because we just traveled outside of the country, and I wasn't buying that either. So we go home, and I talked to his mom. A couple hours later, we were like, you know what, let's just go to the ER and figure it out. Like, there's something going on. Go to the ER, took 6 to 7 hours in the ER to get blood work, ultrasound, finally a CT. And when the CT came back and the ER doc comes in, he's this older military doc who's very blunt, straight to the point. He sat down and he goes, hey, we think you might have a portal vein thrombosis or a blood clot in the main vein of your liver. And that's what it's looking like on the scan. We need to admit you and get you upstairs. We're gonna do further testing tomorrow to rule out liver cancer. And he said it just like that, straight face, boom. And we were just like, what? What are you talking about? Like, that makes 0 sense. So they admitted him, and the next day they did a big liver bile duct MRI called an MRCP. So if you are diagnosed with this, or someone you know is diagnosed, or they're worried about the inner structures of the liver, an MRCP or an MRI of the liver is what you might hear that. So that's what that means. All it is this fancy magnetic imaging of the structures within the liver, and they're able to inject a dye that goes through the IV, and it actually lights up the structures within the liver that look like a bunch of tree branches and limbs, and it kind of shows you if there's any blockages throughout those little structures or tubes within the liver. Sure enough, for Cody, there was. They admitted us. We were in the hospital for 2 days before they came in and told us the results, and I will never forget, bless his heart, brand new baby resident or intern, I can't remember what he was, but he was young and green, bless his heart. he came in and he's like, okay, here's my list of what we think it is. I really don't think it's cancer. There's really just no reason to think that right now. You know, out of my list of things that I think it could be, cancer is at the very bottom. So he basically came in there and told us he did not think it was cancer and not to worry. I just remember sitting there going, maybe shouldn't have done that. But so then the next morning, same baby doctor comes in, and with his very sheepishly with his head tucked and his tail between his legs, and sits down and, hey man, so you know how I told you yesterday I didn't think it was cancer? Well, we got the results back and it looks like it is bile duct cancer, cholangiocarcinoma. So that is how we found out, and that is what led up to being diagnosed. So to answer the question, was he sick before? Did you know? Was there any inkling in your mind? No. Because how in the world was anybody supposed to link back pain and tiredness up until that last week before he was diagnosed, where his eyes started to turn yellow because his bilirubin levels got so high? But I mean, between just the being extremely tired and the back pain, no. Even looking back now, I don't think there were other things that we missed. That was truly his only symptoms up until it got bad. So if you are sitting there, if you have a loved one who was recently diagnosed and you are sitting there going, I've seen this person every single day for X amount of time, I should have caught this, how could I not know? If you are a fellow nurse wife like myself and you are sitting here questioning everything you know, don't do that. Don't do that. It's not your fault. You could not have caught it sooner. And it's not fair to play those games with yourself, because there really was no way that I could have known. And I blamed myself for a really long time as far as not figuring it out sooner. Now I know that the reason his back hurt so bad there was because it was nerve pain radiating from his liver to his back shoulder. Which I did know that before, but the location of where his pain was at was not typical of radiating shoulder pain. So it was just funky. Cancer's funky. It doesn't follow the rules. So if you're struggling with that, don't, because sometimes there's nothing you can do. There's nothing that you can be on the lookout for. Sometimes it just happens and it sucks, but you just gotta kind of keep going forward. So I'm gonna end the video here with that, because if I try to sit here and tell you all about our story in one single video, it'd be like a friggin' Harry Potter novel or Titanic when it came on 2 VHS tapes. It was just too long. So I will end this here. Again, thank you so much for watching if you made it through this point, and be on the lookout for my next video. And bye guys.